whenever you.
You're listening to the Bring the Thunder podcast, a podcast by fans for fans.
Yes, you are. Welcome, everybody, to the Bring the Thunder podcast. You got myself, Gabe, and Savvy here as we're going to be covering OKC's win tonight, 129 to 125 in an overtime thriller. So let's just kind of jump right into this one, and let's address the elephant in the room immediately, Savvy. Is Shai the clutchest player in the NBA? Because that shot to send it to overtime was ridiculous. Then he has 9 points in overtime. Absolutely takes care of business. I'm seeing some comments that are saying, we finally won, had a rough game, but you're going to hear a bit of both sides. There's going to be some rough talk, but I'm going to start with the good and get that out of the way. This was a tough win. This was a tough win. Came down in the clutch. Shai takes care of business, puts up 46 points tonight, proving once again why he is one of the best players in the NBA. So let's get into it with a little bit of stats I got for you guys real quick. So Shai, as I mentioned, 46 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Chet, 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. We had J-Dub with 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. And then AJ Mitchell off the bench with 16 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals. As for Utah, of course, we knew Lauri Markkanen was going to come out and ball up because he normally does. So he dropped 29 points and 13 boards. Then they also had Keontae George. He's been balling. He drops 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists. Then they had Walter Clayton, who came off the bench and dropped a smooth 15 as well with 4 threes. So, Satvir, let's get into this game. What do you got?
Yeah, it felt like we had our 4 best players rocking and rolling. And in this one, they had a surprise appearance by Walter Clayton, putting up 15 off the bench, and then their starters all were mainly in double digits other than Svi. So it felt like they played us harder than I think fans probably thought on a Wednesday night. We'd not get this type of close matchup. And it's actually good that we got tested and we actually responded to the test tonight. We've had a rough set of games. We've been practically 500 in the last 12. Now we're at least one game above that in the last 13. So I'm at least happy about that. And all it took was, Shai scoring 46, 6, and 6 for us to win a game. And I think that's what it's really going to take for Shai to really carry us through this stretch while Hartenstein's not, playing. And we've seen what he can do, what he's capable of. And he's kind of taken off the boxing gloves, and he did that last game as well. I don't know if you noticed, like he wasn't passing up many looks. He didn't really seem to have that much belief in his teammates. I'm not saying he always doesn't, but I think he notices kind of the moment that everyone's struggling and he's got to step it up. And tonight he for sure did that. And as far as clutch player of the year talks, I mean, he's got that pretty much in the bag. He's barely playing third quarters. We already know what those stats look like. And yeah, I mean, he leads in all clutch stat categories without playing too many minutes in it. So, I mean, it should be pretty much unanimous. I don't think there's anyone even close. Even if someone was to catch up in the second half of the season, I don't see them giving that award away. He's just done too much for a long period of time. There's still a lot of basketball to be played, but I don't think Shai's getting any less clutch. I think he's only going to get better and better as the season goes.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of comments here that are obviously upset with some of the things, how this game went. So I will, even though I said we're going to start with some good, I will get into some things that are definitely a problem, but there's also things we have to address. So one of the problems, obviously, once again, it's the rebounding. We were out rebounded 65 to 51. They had 19 offensive rebounds. That is rough because 99% of the time, if you're getting out rebounded that badly on the offensive boards, you're not going to win a game. And to double down on kind of how improbable this win was without Shai, we shot a smooth 18% from the 3-point line, that is abysmal. That is really rough, not good shooting. And they weren't lights out. They were 28% as well from the 3-point line, so they weren't necessarily coming out flying either, which really helped us out. We did force our turnovers like normal, 20 turnovers, but yeah, let's be honest. This was not a pretty game. It was not. It was rough. It was tough. A lot of hard buckets and a lot of, I'm going to use the word again, Xavier, because we've used it a lot recently. A lot of laziness, a lot of really lazy defense. It feels like we keep saying this. It feels like we're a broken record. Shai, don't get me wrong, 46, 6, and 6. That's phenomenal. He won us this game. There were some moments out of him tonight that frustrated me. There was a play where he missed a layup on one end and didn't come back down on the other end. He might have crossed the half court line by the time that the shot got put up. But it's things like that the OKC Thunder have never been about that. I mean, we've had games where we've been up by 20, 25 points and we're still hustling like it's a 1-point game in overtime. And I'm not seeing that right now. And I think the reason why it's all going to come back down to missing Hartenstein and missing J. Will, because we're extending so much more energy fighting for boards, fighting down low, and we're not getting them. And it sounds like we're saying that they're just lazy, but the thing is they're trying for boards, but they are just not getting them because, one, it doesn't matter if you're the most aggressive point guard of all time, or the most aggressive player of all time. When you're shorter, it's tough. It is tough. It's hard to get rebounds. It doesn't matter if you're fighting. It doesn't matter what it is. It's difficult. So they've been fighting for boards and they're dying. I mean, they're losing to boards bad. And because of that, the energy is just gone. They're tired. They're exhausted. And they have bench players, but not having a guy like Hartenstein who is literally there to fight and to push and to pull down every board, and then not having a backup to come in and take care of that either. It's exhausting. We need that badly. So we lose the rebound battle bad tonight. We have some lazy defense. We have some lazy offense. I really think it all just comes from being tired. I mean, we're exhausted, and this doesn't help that this game goes to overtime. So it's difficult right now. We need Hartenstein back badly. I don't think people are understanding just how crucial he is, because there's only a few players that I feel like are giving their all, and Shai is obviously one of them, but AJ Mitchell, Xavier, he is necessary to this team at this point. The defense that he plays is just as good as the offense at this point, and overtime alone, he was doing everything he needed to be, and thank God, I'm going to drop to my knees and thank Mark for finally giving AJ clutch minutes, end of the game minutes, overtime minutes, because we know he will come through. He played phenomenal defense, played great offense. I could not praise him enough for the way he played tonight. But Xavier, give me some of your thoughts.
Yeah, before we get to those, I want to get to Matt's comment here. I appreciate the $10 donation. And he mentioned, yeah, thank you so much. He said, not to be too harsh, but you guys are cruising to get swept by Denver in the playoffs. Missing iHeart should not be making you play this type of caliber team. This historic defense gimmick doesn't work anymore. And low-key, Matt, we don't have that historic defense. Going for the record is no longer even viable. That whole narrative of historic defense and being a historic team kind of has gone into the bin in pretty much a 2 to 3 week stretch here. Especially, I feel like a lot of fans are saying that the Spurs broke us and we haven't recovered since. But I think it's been a combination of, missing players, bad timing, and it's been a rough stretch. AJ's missed a couple games, and from there we just haven't been able to recover to kind of the form that we needed to play at. And then SGA had a pretty bad stint, and so we're gonna have those rough stretches where things just aren't going our way. Where things happen throughout the season, and we're just hitting that really bad time of lots of adversity hitting us all at once. And now they're just trying to claw back, and this is kind of what you expect from a Thunder team in tonight's win. Just winning at all costs, and we've seen that for the most part, to be honest. With this Thunder team, we win a lot of close games, and so it's not a shock. As far as getting swept there by the Denver team, I don't think swept is fair for this, but it will definitely be a tough matchup. I still feel like we can, get games off of Denver, even beat Denver. Jokic is still yet to return. There's questions on their end, and their lineup is pretty much brand new as well with a new addition, and they've been playing really well on their end. So it's going to be, I think, another hard-fought 7 games against Denver if we do see them.
Yeah, Matt, I understand what you're saying, man. I don't think you're being too harsh. If you've listened to us recently, we've been probably equally harsh to this team at times. I get what you're saying. I do. Denver is dangerous as always. I mean, they've had really good games. They've been winning games without half their starting lineup, and I'll give them huge credit for that. But OKC's been good longer than they've been bad this season. So I'm not going to freak out because there's been a bad stretch and say that we wouldn't be able to take Denver. I still think we could take Denver. But like Sabir just said, if we had to play them in the current state we're in, it is going to 7, and it's going to be a battle. Because I'm not saying that us totally healthy would sweep them by any means. I mean, last year we were completely healthy, and it went to 7. It was a great matchup. I do think if we're playing the way that we were playing earlier in the season, if Hartenstein's affecting the game the way he does, and if we're back in the mentality that we were, not saying that that defense is going to be perfect and that historic defense gimmick that you mentioned, but if we're just simply playing the way that we have been playing, and Hartenstein's taking care of boards, and J. Will's healthy, and everything in between, there's no reason we don't beat that team in 6 games, and I would even argue 5 at times, because I just think we're that much better. I really do. But right now, no, you're right, Matt. This current version of this team, it's not good. It's a problem. It really is. I mean, there's no denying that. We just struggled to pull out a win against one of the worst teams in the West. That's the truth of it. And they didn't even – Joe always says either OKC is going to beat themselves or the other team has to shoot 50% from 3. They did not shoot 50% from 3 tonight. We gave them a lot of chances. We gave them a lot of paint points. They had over 50 paint points. We only had around 30. I believe it was between 30 and 40. I don't know the exact number, but we weren't playing our basketball, which has been a problem recently. But thank the Lord we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on this team, because he knows what to do. He knows how to get us where we need to be. And all you're going to see, per usual, is everything about being a free throw merchant, everything in between, because he had 19 free throws. But if you watch this game, every single foul was either late in the game, they were technicals, or if you watch the way he played, he was just getting to the line intelligently. He was driving. He was forcing Nurkic, who, by the way, Nurkic is historically a fouler. He is a physical, he's a big player. He fouled out of this game because of it. So, yeah, we did have a lot of free throws tonight. That's because this Utah Jazz team fouls. So Shai did what he needed to do. He got to the line, but he also was clutch. He had 14 shots that fell down, 14 for 26. The 3 ball was not falling, but putting up tough shots, that game, or not game winner, the shot to go into overtime was ridiculous. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to give him credit for how tough of a shot that was, to be off balance and ducking underneath of the hand of Keontae George as he comes from behind him. That's an incredible shot. Like, there's no other way to put that. So, no, it's hard to watch, and I will agree with everybody who's saying that we need to be a little bit uncomfortable right now, and that's kind of just the word, is uncomfortable. We are uncomfortable, and that's good. We need to be uncomfortable, because you'll never learn what your weaknesses are if you're not put into uncomfortable situations. And maybe this is the turn. I don't remember who said it earlier, but someone commented and said this might be our turn. It's a rough game, but this could be our turn. And I agree completely. And I really think when we see Hartenstein come back to this post-game show and quote me on it, but I do think we will look just as good as we did 2 weeks after he's back. I know, Matt, you say that he's not going to fix all our problems. It's true. He won't fix all of them. He'll fix a lot of them. I mean, the rebounding troubles go away completely. That just goes down the drain. I mean, it really does. Him alone just saves us in terms of, like, I'm not saying we're going to win every single rebound battle, but the rebounds are a lot closer, and that saves energy for everybody else on the team. Until then, yeah, there are other problems. I don't think J-Dub's back, unfortunately. I think he's taking shots I don't like. I don't love his shot IQ right now. I'm hoping he just gets out of this little slump he's in. I still have faith in him. I always will. But Chet Holmgren, man, Saver, I'll let you talk about him because I know you're always here for him. But he's playing his heart out recently. 23 and 12 tonight. He had a huge rebound in overtime. He had a huge contest in overtime to keep them from taking the lead. Just a lot of great stuff from him.
Yeah, we haven't seen a good defensive box score check game. We've seen a lot of good games in general from him. He's usually just really consistent on both ends, and he's had a lot to put on his plate because he doesn't get much rest throughout the games now. And he's doing as best as he can. He's, like you said, pouring his heart out into the team, and he just loves to play. And for him to make the contest, get the rebounds, put the points that he's putting up, I'm just happy to see him have that consistency, and hopefully he can get that all-star bid that we're looking for. I was going to mention this is another night where we start Aaron Wiggins, which is very interesting. And then obviously Shai in this one was a game time decision. And the fact that he played and then he ended up playing so well and so far into the game, even with his knee issue that he had, I feel like by the halftime he had 14 points, a steal and a block. And the rest of the four guys, Chet, J-Dub, and AJ, were right there with him. We were up 20, but Utah closed the half pretty strong at the end there. And I think Shai's up to 20 plus 109 straight games now. He's 18 more until he breaks that Wilt record. He's also leading the pack in 30-point games. This is his 27th 30-point game. That's actually 6 more than Jaylen Brown. I know Jaylen Brown comparisons have came up to SG, and I don't think they're in the same tier. So he's leading that race as well. And Chet Holmgren had just some big buckets down the stretch, and I think he just had some great looks for us. And J-Dub had also a big bucket to tie it 112 to 112. Mm-hmm. And from there, obviously, we know that game, I guess, tire to get us to OT. And this is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's third 40-point game of the season. So I'm just happy. And SJ got that huge putback, and we got to hear some MVP chants from the crowd, and SJ singing both the free throws and just winning this game for us. I also want to get some positives out of the way here. J-Dub did have 17, 6, and 8, but I think this is more of his new normal where he focuses more on the rebounding and the assisting and not so much on the point side. And I think we should kind of accept that for his role, because I think we need someone to kind of get into that third place role in terms of scoring on the team. And obviously he was our second best scorer and we expected him to take a leap, but for him to take a step back and realize, like, okay, he's not the same guy, and to kind of, admit it openly and also do it while he's playing in the games. We see the types of shot he's not able to make right now, but he's still giving it on the other end. In terms of defense, he's still elite, in my opinion. Like every single night, he's playing as elite defense as you can get. Giving us the boards and assists is huge. And 0 turnovers for tonight for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 7 points in overtime. I mean, he pretty much did it all for us. We're 18-2 at home right now, so I feel like we shouldn't be panicking too much. I mean, I still think this is huge. We're out in the West, and we're leading the pack still. I mean, we have a rough stretch, and that's the reason you play really, really hard to start the season. I'll give a comparison. When you're in college, and if you don't focus on the beginning of your semester, and by the time final rolls around and you don't have a high grade, you're only going to get worse because the final is going to be really, really hard. And that's how I think of the playoffs. We started off hot. Even if we have a rough stretch in the middle here and we pick it up in the second half, we should be fine. We should be in the 90 percentile. And even if we do fail a little bit of the final, we should be fine, right? Like by the playoffs. And that's kind of what we did last year. And that's kind of what we're doing this year.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I like your little metaphor there. That's definitely accurate. I'm reading some comments here. I'm agreeing and I'm disagreeing with you guys. I'm going to keep it blunt. One of the things I'm agreeing with is I do think that AJ should be getting a starting role. I think we've let Wiggins try it out here. I think it's time to give AJ some runs. Why not? I think right now it's worth trying. He's clearly shown that he can capitalize in those minutes, but then there is the fear of, does that throw things off? Does he work better as the guy coming off of our bench? I don't know, but I like what you guys are saying. I'd like to see him come out and have a starting game, but I don't want that to be at the expense of J-Dub. I've seen a lot of people saying that J-Dub needs to be the one to drop to the bench. I've seen people even commenting to trade at J-Dub. No. in the most simple way, no. I will not lose faith in Jalen Williams. I will not lose faith that he's going to have a great year. Yeah, he's struggling, but guys, seriously, he hasn't even played for more. I mean, he's not fully, I promise you, he is not fully healthy or playing at the full confidence level that he is. I promise you that he's not there yet. And I really do think that he's going to come around. I have full confidence in that. And when we come back 2 months down the road and he's playing at a high level, it's going to be not an I told you so, but it's going to be like this is what we know he can do. Like, I get what you're saying, Sabir, when you say maybe he does take that step back and realize that he can get boards, he can help assist. I agree. I like that for him. There's no reason every other night he can't step up and be our second leading scorer because he's got that in him. We know he does. Like, we saw it. We saw him doing it with the injury. Like, this is post-injury after the surgery. We saw him doing it with a broken wrist, a wrist that literally in the x-ray is like just clearly not something you should be playing basketball with. Like, we saw him do that. So to act like we're just done with him and we're over him because he's had a rough 2 weeks when the entire team has had a rough 2 to 3 weeks is something that I just can't get behind. I'm waiting for him to see that, for us to see that light back where he's just taking the shots he knows he's good at. Because right now it feels like he's taking shots that he normally wouldn't take. That mid-range he goes to, it's beautiful. I love when he takes that. But there are some really tough finishes that he's been going for that they are never going to go in. And he used to be a lot smarter, I feel like, a lot better takes than that. So, like, I'm not doubting his ability. I think it's a confidence problem. I think we're just not seeing it right now, and it can't help him. If his confidence is already down and he hasn't been playing a lot, it sure as heck isn't helping him watching us go 6-6 over our last 12 and now 7-6. I mean, so it's a team problem. If the team's struggling, if J-Dub's struggling, the team is struggling. It's not just J-Dub's the problem. If we move him to the bench and put AJ in and everything's solved. No. I promise you that benching J-Dub is not the right answer. I do not believe that should be the right answer. I have no reason to think that we should bench him. I think what he brings to this team, he can play. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I will say. You don't have to bench him, but you can pull him earlier and then run him with the bench unit later on. But I don't see any reason to not start this man in the starting lineup. I don't think running a starting lineup of Shai and then Dort and another guard and then potentially another guard right now because we don't have Hartenstein. Like, you want to talk about getting out rebounded? We will get out rebounded in the first 5 minutes by 10 plus boards because Chet cannot do it all. Like, I love the guy. He cannot do it all. J-Dub has to be there to help him out. So I get it, guys. I do. I don't like seeing J-Dub play at a lower level than what we know he's capable of, but don't give up on him. Don't say we should bench him. Don't say we should trade him. Don't give up on him. It's frustrating. I know we're paying him a ridiculous amount. I think Simon Godwin commented that earlier saying that we're not paying him to do all that, but he's worth the money, guys. In the long run, he's going to be worth the money. I don't see a world where trading him is the right answer, and I really don't see a world where think about what that does for his confidence. If his confidence is already a problem, imagine Mark sitting him down and saying, we're going to bench you for whoever. Like, you just can't. You can't do that. There's too much he's offered for this team. And I want to mention another thing, Saver. You mentioned how much better we do when our guys play extra minutes. Our big three all hit 40 tonight, and because of it, we ended up winning. That's a direct correlation. When the big three get those heavy loaded minutes, that's when we're playing good again. So until Hartenstein's back, I think that's got to be the normal. I think they have to play extreme minutes. I want all three of them reaching the top of the chart by a decent chunk, and I think that's how we're going to win games right now.
Yeah, I said that from the jump. As soon as I noticed kind of the game flow and what we're lacking, we're just lacking a lot of big 3 minutes. And I said Mark did it in one of the games and we won it. I think it was maybe against the Golden State Warriors. And then the other games where we've been kind of topsy-turvy, he hasn't been. He's been trying to rely too much on the bench, where we have bench injuries as well. We have guys that are out like J. Will, Caruso. I do want to address a comment that Mark made post-game. He mentioned starting Aaron Wiggins over Cason Wallace, and his I guess the way he's defending that is he needs a point of attack guy coming off the bench and that is who he's trusting is Case and Wallace. I feel like he feels like the bench unit is missing a lot with not having Caruso right now. So he wants to have more of an offensive piece and a defensive piece to come off the bench. He doesn't want to put too much defense all in the starting lineup, and then we start getting blown out when the bench comes in, because I think that'd even make things worse for us. So, and Kaysen being in the DPOY race helps the fact that he's just playing at such an elite level that just by himself, he's guarding the perimeter almost like two players. So I think that's a great thought process by Mark, and I love the fact that he went to Aaron Wiggins in this. We're huge Aaron Wiggins fans, but also Mark mentioned that we surrendered a 20-point lead. We went down by 8 at some point, so we showed a lot of impressive mental toughness in this, and it feels like we're taking accountability in this game is kind of where Mark was going with that. And I feel like the accountability was in this game. The big guys that needed to show up showed up, and we won the game, and that's pretty much what it is. We move on to the next game, and hopefully we can continue to do this. We just got to rough it out for a couple more weeks until Hartenstein's back and maybe some more guys get into the lineup, because I will be honest, our lineup depends on all these guys kind of being healthy, and we did that during the playoffs. I feel like when we're missing a cog to the defensive historic unit, it kind of turns things around and makes it a little bit more difficult to be consistent. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like Hartenstein being able to box out and fight for those rebounds, it makes our guards not have to do that. I mean, Lou Dort had a giant rebound towards the end of the game that really helped seal it, but he shouldn't have to be doing that. Like, yeah, I want my guards to be hustling and I want them to be fighting for boards. But when Hartenstein and Chet are both on the court together and they're both boxing out the big man, the rebound comes way easier. So you talk about that cog being out and him being one of those. If he's not playing and those players aren't getting boxed out, we have our guards fighting literal 7-foot players trying to get rebounds. That's exhausting. And ultimately, believe it or not, guys, we're not made up of cyborgs. Our players are humans and they get tired like constantly. That's a thing. That's a thing that happens. I think some people forget that, and they're tired. They're exhausted. So fighting for rebounds, yeah, it throws off everything. And that's why do you think Xavier and I keep going back to the word lazy? The word lazy directly stems from being tired. So they are tired. They're tired of fighting for rebounds that they frankly shouldn't have to be fighting for. And that's the other thing. They got real used to it and they got real comfortable not having to fight for rebounds because we had 2 7-footers doing it every single time. And then when one of them got tired, J-Will came in and he fights like a bull in a china shop. So they never had to deal with fighting for rebounds like this. And now that they do, the defense is exhausted and the offense, the shots aren't falling because they're tired. And when you're putting in that much effort on the offensive end, then the defensive end is tired. And it's just it's exactly what you said. The cog one missing and everything is thrown upon its head. So we just got to wait. Like you said, these next few weeks, they're going to be rough. They are. Like, there's no other way to put it. We've also mentioned it multiple times. We have a tough schedule. Like, we started real easy and we're going to get really difficult all of a sudden. But one of the big things I wanted to highlight from this game as well, you talked about the big three showing up. We have always been terrified of the issue being what happens when Shai is off or what happens in the non-Shai minutes. Tonight, every time Shai was off, it felt like Chet stepped up or J-Dub stepped up. Shai missed a couple rough like middies that he would normally hit tonight. Chet gets the offensive rebound and puts it back up immediately. Shai's tired because he had a big stop on the other end. J-Dub hits a tough float. Like, that is what wins us championships. That's what won us a ring last year. That's what does it, is when Shai doesn't have to be the only guy. And I know it's funny I say that when he dropped 46, it feels like he was the only guy, but he wasn't. Like, the 17 points from J-Dub are big. The 8 assists from J-Dub are huge. The 3 blocks from Chet, the 23 points, the 12 rebounds. Like, when those 3 are working and kind of like taking turns getting hits and throwing punches, like, that's when we're really tough to beat because Shai's allowed to miss a shot. Like, there feels like there's times in these last couple of weeks where when Shai misses that last big shot, you're like, it's over. Like, no one else is stepping up. It's over. Tonight, it didn't feel that way. If Shai missed a shot, Chet crashed the board, or on the way down, J-Dub or Dort or somebody poked a ball free. Like, it felt tonight like it normally does, which is Shai doesn't have to do it all. And if anything, that's what leads to his 46. He gets to take a breather and he gets to feel more comfortable with his scoring. So overall, like, that was a breath of fresh air for me. Like, yeah, this was a close game against a bad team. I understand that. this could have been a loss. This could have very easily been a loss. But Chet shows up, J-Dub shows up, and that leads me to AJ too. AJ is showing up constantly. He's now had, I believe, 11 straight games of 10-plus points off the bench. That's huge. That is crazy. So, guys, it's frustrating. It is. We have a tough streak coming up. Be prepared because it's going to get tough, I promise. But don't give up on these guys. Don't give up on our players. Don't give up on J-Dub. I beg you, because I really think there's a corner that's going to be rounded here soon, and we're going to see him come out back the way we know. So tough win overall. That's kind of where we'll end this. But yeah, tough win. Xavier, I think you're muted right now. There you go.
Gotcha. I did want to defend your J-Dub take. I was just checking out the stats for him. The only thing he's really down on right now, statistically, maybe not so much eye test wise, he's not really playing all that much different than last season. If you really think about it, it's only 1 point differential on the points. And then the only thing he's doing worse in is he's shooting 6% worse, maybe 6.5% worse from the 3-point line. And I know that's a huge difference. And obviously he didn't get that break. His wrist is messed up and it's his shooting wrist. So it's kind of expected for him to have longer shots that are not going in currently. Mm-hmm. While he's figuring that out, I don't think him getting backed up to 38%, maybe 40% as a 3-point shooter is going to be realistic. I think he'll round out that curve closer to like 34 to 33%, which is league average. As long as he's shooting league average from the 3-point line, where he's going to hang his hat is on that mid-range where he knows he can get that. And even with an injured wrist or not, I think he's very comfortable in that space. And it's a lot easier to take those closer shots. And he still dominates in the paint. I think for what he's giving us, like he's still playing at an elite level for what we paid. And then we know he's able to step up in the games that we need him to. And I feel like that's more important than a lot of other secondary stars on a lot of other teams. We can't say they're reliable versus a guy that has done it in playoff series time and time again. Like he's a champion for a reason. You don't just get that by mistake. And I feel like fans are kind of freaking out over the expectation of him playing better than what he should be, but he's still right there with his averages. What he got paid for is exactly what he's kind of delivering. It's just at a lower level than what we expected. And so I don't think we should get so upset like, oh, let's trade him or let's do this. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. And same thing with Shai. He's playing a little bit above what we paid him to do last season. And when you're playing next to a guy like SGA that's taking up as much usage as he is, both those guys are going to not put up the usage or the 20 plus points every single night that we expect them to. And that shouldn't be an expectation for both of them. We just need one of them above 20 points, the other one playing really solid defense, getting assists, getting boards, playing more of an all-around game. And we're receiving that from both players. That's all we can really ask from both players. We need them to have certain set of responsibilities. And I feel like they've carried out those responsibilities. So to get upset that, oh, he's not a 20 plus like scorer this season, whereas he comes in next season, has time to rest, has time for a full off season, and then ramps up. I feel like he'll be exactly where we expect him to be. So I'm not going to be too tough on him, but that was kind of what I wanted to point out, because I think it's kind of ridiculous to call out any of our big three right now. We're 31-7. I don't know what Thunder fans could even ask for. We've been in the trenches at times with teams, and I have more faith in this season's Thunder team than all the other years that the Thunder have ever played. And that says a lot because we've been through tons of MVPs and everything else like that. So,
yeah, for sure. Last thing I was going to touch on here, our most recent comment from Stuzzy Boa says, OT with the Jazz, sorry, A team. Well, this Jazz team a week ago on back-to-back nights beat the Pistons and the Spurs. So I wouldn't exactly go commenting that when their record's not good, but anyone can beat anyone. So, and we didn't lose that game. So we'll just leave it at that. OKC takes down Utah tonight, 129-125. But thank you guys for all of the comments. We love being able to do these videos and just talk with you guys. No matter what, win or lose, it's always fun to do these. Please continue to check out our social media pages as we're posting more stuff all over, doing different types of games. Check out some of our premium content. We promise we're making really good stuff for you guys. We're doing what we can. We promise it's worth the money. We're constantly just cranking out the best stuff over there. So thank you guys very much. And in courtesy of Joe, who is not here tonight, Thunder up, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.